said Sidney Powell. That's called a microphone.
I'm over the moon.
Okay.
I'm so excited. God bless you. You have so many people praying for you. Thank you for all your hard work.
Oh, thank you so much. We feel those prayers. The whole team does.
Cindy, get us up to date on what's happening. Particularly, I just got notified in the middle of the night. They're taking down your email account. They're trying to shut you down from communication and access to anybody about your ongoing investigation. Walk us through right now what's happened to the email. I want to make sure our audience knows, and particularly people that are part of your network, if they're not getting direct, immediate information from you, what's happening?
Yes, MailChimp just deplatformed my law firm blast emails from SydneyPowell.com because apparently we were talking about defending the Republic. And they just can't stand the truth, Steve. That's all it is. They want to suppress free speech. They can't stand the truth. They are absolutely terrified of it. And all the behaviors you were talking about earlier, about all the labeling they do of us and the mocking, those are fear-based behaviors. Absolutely fear-based. They don't know what else to do. They have no substance, so they lash out with labels and try to dismiss us as, quote, conspiracy theorists or racist or mock us, and that's because they have absolutely nothing.
Cindy, I want to ask you, you became a hero to this movement early on. I mean, you were one of the posse and helped us here in 2018 in the midterm elections. You were one of the surrogates. We had surrogate calls every day. You were in the middle of that. You took on General Flynn's case when it looked like, he had other lawyers and it looked like a lot of bad stuff was going to happen to him. Walk us through your journey, because you come from, you weren't doing this for a long time. You've always been a fighter for freedom, but you got involved in General Flynn's case, and then you saw what we were up against and what the American people were up against, and you really became one of the leaders of this movement and getting to the bottom of what the facts are. So walk us through your journey, how you got involved with General Flynn, and then what led you to being here today.
Well, I used to be a federal prosecutor. I was for 10 years in 3 different districts under 9 U.S. attorneys from both political parties. And I never in my entire career saw prosecutors behave the way they started behaving, at least with the Enron task force appointments, which were made by President Bush back in 2001. And there I was in private practice then, and I saw prosecutors make up crimes, absolutely make them up by piecing parts of 2 different statutes together and hide evidence that showed people were innocent. I wound up representing Arthur Anderson, which was destroyed with 85,000 jobs along with it by this corrupt group of prosecutors, only to be reversed 9-0 by the Supreme Court. And then I represented one of the Merrill Lynch executives in litigation that lasted a total of 10 years. It took me 6 years to uncover the evidence the prosecutors had hidden that showed these men were innocent. 4 men went to prison for up to a year on an indictment that didn't even state a criminal offense. They couldn't get bail pending appeal because this corrupt group of prosecutors headed by Andrew Weissman and Leslie Caldwell and Lisa Monaco, who's now Deputy Attorney General. And, of course, Weissman became Deputy Director of the FBI under Mueller and General Counsel, and then became head of Mueller's squad, his hit squad that went after General Flynn. So I wrote a book.
But hold on, I want to go. Hang on, I got to go back to Weissman. He's a psychopath. I got to go, and he's on MSNBC all the time, pontificating. Right? He's a psychopath. Okay. Talk about Arthur Anderson. They destroyed one of the great accounting firms in this country and put tens of thousands of people out of work because he was maniacally focused on this.
85,000 people worldwide.
85,000, and later you found out later we found out it was uncalled for. Correct.
Correct. They took parts of 2 different statutes to make a crime that didn't exist. Congress had never enacted that statute. In fact, they did later to plug what they saw as a loophole in Arthur Anderson. But, of course, then they did not apply that to Hillary Clinton, to whom it would have applied. But, yes, they destroyed Anderson. They knew they were going to destroy it when they indicted the company. They sealed the indictment for a week while they worked behind the scenes to avoid upheaval in the markets because Anderson represented 2,500 publicly traded companies. And as soon as the indictment was unsealed, of course, Anderson was history. They didn't even have to wait for the trial. But since they tried him in Houston in the wake of the Enron collapse, which affected people all across the country, and yes, it was a bad thing, but was it Anderson's crime? No, it wasn't. There was no crime there with respect to Anderson, certainly not what the government had charged. And so the company was destroyed for nothing. It took 2 years for a unanimous Supreme Court to reverse the Anderson conviction in its entirety. But of
Why
course,
is Weissman? But why has Weissman not been charged with that? That's what I'm saying. How can Andrew Weissman, this psychopath, go about and do all this stuff? Why has he not been charged with anything? What do we have to do to actually get criminal charges against him? Why? I know what's going to happen after. And people understand when we take over in 2022 and 24, new deal. No more like in 16, right? The same people around Trump that were talking about everything, they're all gone. Those are the ribbon clerks. They're gone. They all ran for the hills. Okay, got to be a new deal. So you understand, we're winning in 2022 in a massive landslide. We're going to take 50 seats, okay, taking the House of Representatives.
Demand citizens, real voting ID and real paper ballots instead of those manufactured from the machines after they've changed the vote to whatever they wanted it to be. We've got to have a real electoral system before we can elect anybody. I think we won at least 50 seats.
We did. There's no doubt there's illegitimate. Let's go back to November 3rd. Tell us right now, our audience, where are you working? What are the verticals you're going after? When can people start to see results? Where are you going to go to court? Just walk us through what the whole apparatus of your investigation, where is it taking you?
Well, almost immediately after the election, I started an organization called defendingtherepublic.org. And I would encourage everyone to go to our site and look at all the information there. We're focusing not just on election issues, but also issues of individual rights that involve COVID, masks, all kinds of different things, because they all are infringing on our rights as individuals given to us by God and enshrined in our Constitution and Bill of Rights. We have enormous work to do. We were the only group that had 3 cases on the Supreme Court's docket, which of course it let lie there until they became moot, and then they declared a moot and dismissed them. But we have been working on the election law issues since the day after the election. We've uncovered all kinds of different things. We're working with Mike Lindell's team on a lot of this, and we're going to stay after it, and it's got to be changed.
Sydney, do you see, now we call you guys the air game. You're coming in with the airstrike, right, with the machines. Do you see the ground game? Would you see on the full forensic audit of the physical ballots about to start, the canvass, and the Attorney General Merrick Garland is getting involved here now. You're going to see it metastasize to Georgia. You already got people, lawyering up and getting criminal defense lawyers, New Hampshire, Michigan, Pennsylvania, all of it. The question I got, when Merrick Garland sent that letter out there to intimidate basically the state senate, and Wendy Rogers and others, we had her on yesterday, stood up to him. Do you believe in your time as a federal prosecutor that Merrick Garland must recuse himself from any involvement in the 3 November situation, given the fact that he's Biden's appointee as Department of Justice? Does he have any standing here, or he should be recused immediately?
I think he should be recused, yes. And I found his conduct absolutely appalling. But by the way, the Trump administration also stood down on investigating the election. I don't know what in the world happened there, but all the election fraud investigations during the Trump administration were shut down after the election.
Well, isn't that Bill Barr? I'm going to go back to Bill Barr because now he's got a $2 million. By the way, Barr's in on it when he's got a $2 million book deal from Simon & Schuster, one of these big publishers. You ain't getting a big book deal unless you're part of the problem. Trust me. Talk about Bill Barr and Trump's Justice Department and how they didn't serve the Republic.
Well, I was a big supporter of Bill Barr. I really was, until September or October, when it seemed like something dramatically changed with him, and I don't know what it was. But certainly the people he left in charge there not only dropped the ball, but were a huge part of the problem in failing to do anything. It's inexplicable to me. In fact, I know that serious threats were made against at least 1 or 2 people out of the Department of Justice because of their efforts to do something about the election. And they told all the U.S. attorneys to stand down.
All the attorneys stand out. You're seeing now whether it's out, and listen, we say, hey, we don't talk about things unless they're in venues that can be adjudicated. You're seeing out with the constitutional authority of the state senate in Arizona, they're doing a full forensic audit under their auspices. And the Attorney General out there has been no supporter of this, has told Merrick Garland back off. You're seeing now in Georgia, everybody's lawyering up as they now get to the bottom of there's no chain of custody on the mail-in ballots. We've been saying it here for months. Now that's getting in. All these are being adjudicated either in courts of law now or at state senates, which, hey, if you want to deplatform people, then you ought to deplatform the courts and you ought to deplatform the state senate. Just cut to the heart of it. I got to ask you, I know you're working with Lindell. Any of your other investigations, can people get a timeline of when you think you're going to be coming out and putting out more of your evidence and building more of your cases and going back to court?
We are not doing our own investigation to speak of like Lindell is, but he is sharing information, and we will be helping with the litigation that needs to go on in light of the evidence that is coming to the forefront.
How can people, if MailChimp cut off your thing, give our audience, how can they get to you? We want everybody to go to defendtherepublic.org. Defendingtherepublic.org. Let's get into the live chat. I want everybody to spread it around. If they can't get your emails, how are you going to sort out that situation? You're going to have a backup plan?
Yes, we already have a backup plan, and we should be back up by tomorrow. We expect to send out another blast tomorrow. So you can sign up either at SydneyPowell.com, it's SIDNEYPOWELL.com, or at defendingtherepublic.org. And watch out for fake sites. Make sure you're on defendingtherepublic.org. We've had fake sites set up. There's no telling how much money they've stolen. We're working to fight against that as well and get them off the internet. And we're just going to keep at it from every front.
Is it SydneyPowell1word.com? The other site is CindyPowell.com? Okay.
Yes.
You're a patriot and a hero, and I got to tell you, you're a fighter. And if I can say, it's my highest compliment. You, ma'am, are tough as boot leather. I got to tell you.
Thank you.
I've been in the room with Sidney Powell. There's nobody can brace somebody up like Sidney Powell. Trust me, you don't want to get on her bad side when she's got the facts and you don't. She doesn't like people talking smack. Sidney, thank you so much. Honor to have you on.